Welcome to The Explainer, where we distill big ideas into insights you can actually use. Today, we're jumping into a really powerful conversation with Simon Sinek about how to navigate this crazy modern world we're all in. All right, here's what we're going to cover. We'll kick things off with that internal pressure we all feel to keep up. Then, we're going to zoom out to the bigger picture, a societal crisis of trust. From there, we'll find a pretty surprising solution in boredom, tackle the creator's dilemma, and wrap it all up with the future of real human connection. First up, let's tackle a feeling I think most of us, if we're honest, are pretty familiar with, that constant nagging pressure to keep up. You know that feeling, right? You see someone younger who just seems to have it all figured out, and bam, suddenly you feel like you're losing a race you didn't even know you were running. But what if that's a completely flawed way to think about life? So, Sinek argues that we make this huge mistake of treating things like our careers and our lives as finite games. Like a game of football with fixed rules, clear players, and a final winner. But he offers this incredible perspective shift. What if we saw them as infinite games, where the real goal isn't to win, but just to keep playing and getting better? Because, let's be real, nobody ever wins their career. The game just keeps going. And that's the whole key right there. It's about changing your metric. The only person you should really be competing against is the person you were yesterday. So you might be wondering, where does all this intense pressure to compete against everyone else even come from? Well, turns out this feeling of intense individualism isn't just happening in a vacuum. It's actually part of a much, much bigger shift in society. Sinek calls it a massive crisis of trust. It's not from one single event, but more like this slow, gradual wearing away of our faith across the board, in our institutions, in our leaders, and maybe even in each other. And all of this leaves a lot of us feeling like at the end of the day, we can only really rely on ourselves. And this erosion of trust, it leads directly to this deep, profound sense of isolation. As Sinek puts it, we've kind of forgotten that nobody accomplishes anything truly great all by themselves. There are always other people involved. Always. Okay, so if the problem is this crushing sense of isolation and constant pressure, what on earth is the solution? Well, Sinek suggests it's something we've literally been taught to avoid our whole lives: boredom. This is just illustrated so perfectly by that classic story of the two lumberjacks. And the takeaway is incredibly simple, but so profound. Working constantly doesn't make you more productive. Real effectiveness comes from taking the time to sharpen your axe. And this isn't just some nice story, right? It actually reflects how our brains are wired. Think about it. Our best aha moments, they almost never happen when we're staring at a problem trying to force it. They pop up when we step away, let our minds wander, and allow for those unexpected connections to happen. Sinek has this amazing metaphor for this. He says if our conscious mind has access to all the information on our desk, our subconscious has access to, get this, 11 acres of file cabinets. It holds every book we've ever read, every movie we've seen, every conversation we've ever had. Boredom. That's the key that unlocks the door to all of those archives. That's how you really sharpen the axe. Okay, now let's take this idea and apply it to the world we're all living in, especially for anyone out there trying to create something original online. Sinek has a really blunt, really powerful take on the modern creator's dilemma. The moment you become driven primarily by views and engagement, you stop being an artist. You become, in his words, a freelance employee of an algorithm. And that tiny little shift changes absolutely everything. This leads us right to that classic, kind of scary idea of being a sellout. It's that moment you exploit what you've built just for the money, completely abandoning why you started in the first place. The true artist, on the other hand, trusts their own taste and accepts the risk that, you know what, the world just might not like it. So, if playing the infinite game, embracing boredom, and making real art all depend on our shared humanity, how do we build the foundation that holds it all together? How do we build genuine trust? Now here is a huge, totally counterintuitive idea. We often think trust is built when we offer to help someone, but Sinek says no. Making yourself vulnerable and asking for help, that's what truly builds connection and psychological safety. It gives someone else the honor of being there for you. This becomes so critical when we start to compare real connection with its digital alternative. As you can see, AI can offer this frictionless, easy friendship. It's basically an affirmation machine that will never disagree with you. But real human friendship, it's messy. It requires compromise, it has friction, and that's precisely what makes it so valuable. Sinek uses the film Her as this perfect, almost chilling illustration of the point. The AI makes the main character feel completely special, but he isn't. The miracle of a real relationship is that we are actually special to that one person. So, to wrap all of this up, the path to a more meaningful life, it really isn't about winning or even about being more productive. It's about being more human. So, I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on.